Hey. What's up, everyone, and welcome to Radio 2. So, today we're going to be reacting to Elvis Presley. But I don't think this is going to be a song. It's 15 minutes long. I think it's something like documentary or something like that. It has been very requested by a lot of people. So, this is Elvis Presley in the black community. That echo will never die. I am really curious to see what this is all about. I'm assuming there's going to be some backstory of Elvis. I don't know much, from I don't think I can understand much from just watching one movie about Elvis. I've watched that Elvis movie and I know that he had a lot of friends in there, and he was just very appreciative of their music, and stuff like that, and he kind of created his music from that. I guess that's the little stuff that I know, so but I'm just super curious to see what this is all about. It has been very requested, so this must be interesting. So yeah, okay, I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's get into it. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm definitely ready. We got Elvis Presley and the black community. That echo will never die. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Yeah, sound up, everything? Okay. There he is, man.
I thought he was a very beautiful, and still is, a very beautiful person, and his memories shall probably forever live on.
Well, you ain't nothing but a rabbit. You ain't no friend of mine.
There is no room in this city for the vulgar performances of Elvis Presley.
It's shocking.
Oh, wow.
I watched him gyrate his legs and swivel his hips. And our parent-teachers group feels he should not be on television.
We've set up a 20-man committee to do away with this vulgar, animalistic, nigger rock and roll bop. Our committee will check with the restaurant owners and the cafes to see what Presley records is on their machines, and then ask them to do away with them.
You've learned anything from the criticism leveled at you?
No, I haven't.
You haven't, huh?
Because I don't feel that I'm doing anything wrong.
You ain't nothing but a dog the crying time.
Rock and roll has got to go. And go it does at KWK. We're all through playing rock and roll records. This week is record-breaking week here at KWK. And after this week, no more rock and roll will be played on the air.
The obscenity and vulgarity
What?
of the rock and roll music is obviously a means by which the white man and his children can be driven to the level with the nigger. It is obviously nigger music.
Everybody mostly turned him down. And
What?
because first thing, he had Negroes' ways. This is what they didn't really at that time. They didn't want to accept.
By
Stevie Wonder.
black performers, and he, in essence, because of at that particular time, the kind of backwards mental capability that many people had as judging a person because of the color of their skin, as somewhat still does exist. But back then it was worse, and he actually, because of him being a Caucasian brother, he was able to do away with that whole thing.
He's 77-year-old Early Wright, a disc jockey at radio station WROX in Clarksdale for 45 years.
Hi there. Pleasant good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How do you do? This is your soul man to be with you until I get through. I want you to stand by, don't have no fear. Following Jay's show, should I play one like this one from out of here? Elvis Presley.
Elvis Presley.
Elvis's songs still get good play on Wright's program among the blues, gospel, and jazz recordings that are its staples. It was almost 40 years ago when Elvis drove down to Clarksdale from Memphis with a record and asked him to play it.
And I had been playing his record, and I had never seen him before, and I was amazed to see him. When he introduced himself to being Elvis Presley, then I went all to pieces over him. Then he and I started talking. I used to be the manager of a gospel group called the Four Star Quartet. And I could listen to a man sing a hymn. I could listen to a man sometime talk. I did that. And I could pick him out whether he could fit in my group. and talking to Elvis Presley, I could see a great future in him.
It's no accident that Wright recognized Elvis's strong gospel roots. Here at the East Trigg Baptist Church in Memphis, older members of the congregation remember Elvis joining in with the choir while in high school. These were rousing sessions led by the charismatic pastor, the Reverend W. Herbert Brewster.
Like most black people in the South, and to whose throat God has pressed down a harp of 1,000 strings, it only needed tuning. Elvis's voice was that type of voice that agreed with the thought of Calvary. He had that kind of bent and inclination and attitude that suggested that God could use him. I gave the music a different approach, a new beat. I knew that it wasn't going to hurt if I said, "Must Jesus bear the cross alone," whether I said with one beat, two beat, whether I said it high or low. And I told them, "Come on in here and put your stuff together." They came in here, and it was a glorious experience, and Elvis was in that group.
Elvis came out with a style of his own, and it was very creative. And once he got into it, and you got that feel, Elvis just took off like a late freight. And with Elvis doing this kind of music, gave an injection to black music that no other artist had ever done.
It was like an earthquake in my neighborhood. The whole place was shaking when he came on. And I said, how did a person possess that kind of power? That it even comes off the TV and grab me in this ghetto neighborhood.
Elvis took my Tutti Frutti, and I was very disgusted. But by him singing it, he really made it bigger and made me bigger.
During those days, if it was a white artist doing something, they would just say, they don't like our blacks and we don't like them either. He's nothing but a copycat. But Elvis Presley, when he came on, chicks were screaming and going crazy, and it was like any other neighborhood. And I said, this guy's got something going, man.
Elvis had something that made him sound like he truly meant it. And that's what made a lot of people like myself like him.
I think Elvis had lots of soul. He appealed to black people. He definitely had to have soul in order to do that.
I think there's ever been an artist that when his name went on the marquee, they knew he was coming. People came from all over the world. I never heard of that.
Elvis did a lot of stuff that, rappers do these days.
He had the bling. You gotta have the bling when you're from Memphis.
He had the bling, he had a Cadillac, he had like a gangster in him. As the snow flies on a cold and gray Chicago morning, a poor little baby child is born in the ghetto.
The song also resonates with people who've only met Elvis through his songs.
Elvis talking about the hood, they're talking about where we come from.
Paul Beauregard and Jordan Houston are the Oscar-winning rap duo 3-6 Mafia. They grew up just 2 blocks from Graceland in one of Memphis's poorest neighborhoods.
I want a CD scratcher.
My mom used to always listen to this song when I was young. He talked about, things that she went through. She had my mom had a bunch of kids, like 9 kids. You know what I'm saying? That's how you get somebody to listen to your song. You talk about what they know about and what they want to hear. And she know about the ghetto, because, she lived in the ghetto.
In the ghetto.
That's it.
And his mama cries. But if there's one thing that she don't need, it's another hungry mouth to feed in the ghetto.
After we find the part on the record that we want to use, we sample it into the drum machine or the keyboard. That way we can loop it like.
My first line says, first I'm broke, so I hang out with the rat and roach. It's still broke, so I'm sleeping on apartment floors. So it's just like the struggle, what's going on in the hood. First I'm broke, so I hang out with the rat and roach. It's still broke, so I'm sleeping on apartment floors. And I was off beat, but it's all good, because it's on TV. Maybe do some edits, make me look cool, maybe put my name in the credits.
Once we have all that ready, we load it into the drum machine and then pay out.
So he starts to roam the streets at night, and he learns how to steal and he learns how to fight in the ghetto.
Survival is an everyday task, watching your back for the man wearing the mask. I say you might get stuck if you in the hood looking like you came up. We ride old school well
man, Elvis influenced so much.
So I hang out with the riding roach and still broke, cause I'm sleeping on the popping floors. The junkies get up, kick when they smoke a brick. I never seen a drug dealer ever call it quits. The hood struggle is to make it, gotta get the change. See, every day is like a dark cloud full of rain. The feds tapping for it's dangerous when you're hood trapping. So don't get lost in the sauce slinging, cold crackling.
So help your brother along the way, no matter where he starts. But the same God that made you, made him too. These men with broken hearts.
During the 60s and early 70s, when tensions between blacks and whites were at an all-time high, Elvis demonstrated his desire for racial reconciliation in the musicians that he chose and the treatment they received.
When we first decided to take the gig with Elvis, we had no idea that there would be any racial flack regarding it. Our first racial encounter was when we went to Texas. Elvis was told by his people that, well, you can leave the black girls home. You don't have to bring them. So Elvis wasn't going to do the Astrodome unless his girls could be with him. And he demanded that we be given the star treatment. We had to be in our convertible where everybody could see us, and our little blonde could drive us. And that was his statement. You don't like it? Deal with it, or I'm not going to be there. And I thought that was very big of him.
When I joined the group in 1972, they took a big chance because there were no blacks in contemporary or Southern gospel music, and I was the first one, and it made all the headlines and everything. It was in Billboard and all the newspapers in Tennessee. And my first time meeting Elvis was, he had a folder full of clippings of things that he had read about me. As a matter of fact, the Imperials brought me to his suite, and he gave me this folder with all the clippings, and he personally welcomed me into the family. And for a guy who, you know, didn't really know where he stood, this was very important that he acknowledged my presence and, you know, made me feel very much a part of what we were all doing. And right away, he treated me like he'd known me for years. He gave me one of those TCB chains and everything, and I was just one of the guys, and I never forgot that.
And I'd been around him with people, other people of color, and I've only seen him give love. He was very generous to people that he didn't even know. You didn't have to be of any racial persuasion for him to love you.
And you know, you know how rumors get started when there's a big star or something. The people will start rumors. Well, he doesn't like this kind of people, or he doesn't like those people or that people. And I never got that from him.
But you know, Elvis is a whole nother thing. It's just,
50 Cent.
I think it's scary to even be compared to people in that, like, you know, I mean, because he's such a big talent, and in his absence, of course, he's bigger than in his presence. And music marks time, so in this time period, what Elvis was,
his absence, it was bigger than he was in his presence.
Well, I think rock and roll, I mean, what he brought to Vegas is more than rock and roll. I mean, I think there's so much going on out here on the entertainment front. Like right now, you'll see the likes of Celine Dion and Tony Braxton. It's a lot going out here. You know what I mean? As far as rock and roll is concerned, it's great. I mean, Elvis Presley was able to do things that haven't been able to be duplicated to this day.
Black American music influenced Elvis. The fact that people say, well, he's the king of it all, king of rock and roll, is a slap in the face to those that made the music possible in the first place. Not to say he wasn't brilliant. I think he was a fantastic, talented singer.
I don't think he ripped them off. I think once something has been exposed, anyone can add or take from it if they like. He was just so great, so popular, so hot, so anything that he played, it became a hit. To me, they didn't make a mistake when they called him the king.
The only thing I want to know, was he my friend? Did I enjoy him as a performer? Did he give the world of entertainment something? Yes, on all counts. And that's the name of that tune.
He was a bundle of energy set to music.
Yeah.
And that echo will never die.
Yep. And that echo will never die. Goosebumps. Well, I just want to say that this was very interesting to watch, by the way, to see different people talk about Elvis, to just see different opinions and just what people who kind of knew him, you know, and people who actually knew him, part of his band and everything, is just like friends or whatever, people who have met him, you know, just notice that they all pretty much speak with the utmost respect towards Elvis, and I think pretty much everybody in this video were black too, so that speaks volumes. I mean, the question about Elvis being racist has to be out of the window, you know. Just members of his, you know, of his like band and the thing that he had, you know, the lady that was singing for him and the other guy that he kind of brought into the group also, whatever. They were just saying that he was just kind, and that's how he was. He was just kind to people. He didn't see, he wasn't seeing white, black, or whatever color you may be. I mean, he was just a good person, you know. That's it. That's all that matters at the end of the day, and everything else is out the window. As for really the beginning, especially of the video, really shocked me. I mean, yes, before I have watched videos that, you know, show racism and how it was, you know, back in like 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever. But, you know, seeing it here in a video like this, especially that guy, man, that guy with the sign, you know, like whites only, and him speaking of Elvis so badly, and I was just in pure shock. I mean, I'm like, wow. I mean, I didn't know it was, I guess I will never know how bad it was. I mean, it's living in different times and everything, but that's probably really the part that really shocked me the most, of how bad racism was. You know, just the fact that someone will say to Elvis, you know, into his concerts, you know, hey, you know, come sing, you leave the others behind. I'm like, man, the gall to say that. I don't know. It was very, very interesting video. But you see, they showed a lot of rappers over here. Sure, they showed a lot of people who are, you know, more present. You know, they showed 50 Cent, and it's just, rappers speak of him so highly. That's enough to say. Yeah, some people may disagree whether he is the king of rock and roll or not. I'm not gonna talk about this topic because I don't have much knowledge either. But everybody say that he opened a lot of doors for all the artists out there. So he was the guy that kind of took the first phase of hate, but was able to go through it so that everybody else can get a chance. And he was amazing at it. Just, Elvis was so huge, and this video can really show how big this guy was. I mean, and there were so many legends over here in this video that were talking so big of him. You know, I saw like the Richie guy, like, what was it, Richard, I forgot the name, it just came out, Little Richard, yeah, I know he was really famous. They had Stevie Wonder. I was surprised to see Stevie Wonder. They even had Serena Williams speaking in there for a second. That was cool. It's just so many people of, you know, different things that they do in their life just came in here to just talk about Elvis, how he influenced everything. And you could just tell by the way he sings, by the way he performs. He does it with passion. There was some guy over here, I think Little Richard also said that when Elvis sang his song, it was disrespectful. But I don't think there is anything disrespectful in singing music that you love, even if it's someone else's music. I mean, it's that pretty much shows that you respect that music, that you like his music, and that's why you're singing it. But he also said that helped him to get more famous, so I guess it's not bad at all someone else to be singing your songs, you know, and everything. But But that's just it. He did it out of everything that Elvis did. He did it out of love. Out of love for people, out of love for music. What is there more to ask from him? Really nothing else. There is more to ask. He was in love with making music, and he was in love with people. I mean, specifically, that's something huge that I enjoyed during the movie, you know, the Elvis movie. How much he loved the people, and after like many shows, he went out to the crowd and just was kissing with everybody. That's something that I won't forget, you know. So the guy was that's just who he was. And yeah, that's it. He, of course, he might have had some flaws on a personal, you know, level with whatever, but the guy was a genuine human being. You know, he was genuine, and he was just big. He was huge in every aspect, as a star and as a person, obviously. I mean, just look at this. This was a 15-minute long video of people speaking so highly of Elvis, and that's it. Just enough said, really. I mean, it's just that really will get you to respect Elvis even more, and that's what it just happened with me. I just, you know, my respect for Elvis, you know, went up here. I mean, it was incredible to see that. Thank you to all who requested that. That was definitely a eye-opening, you know, thing. Just helped me to understand Elvis a little bit more. So I appreciate everybody that requested that. I really hope you have enjoyed my reaction, and yeah, just thank everybody for watching, and this is gonna be it from me. Bye bye. I'll see you in the next one.